Um, I don't really know where to begin.
Well, if those dates suit you for me to visit, great, I'll book flights. Yeah, it's been ages. A really long time. Well, before August 2016. Yeah, a lot has happened. A lot. Sometimes I wish everything would just stop so I could begin to even process. No, yeah. No. Yeah. You're right. Best to keep busy, keep pushing on. Yes, I do have an idea for my next show. I'll probably have to write a bit of it whilst I'm visiting with you. But yeah, no, I'm totally up for doing stuff. Yeah. Oh, Board Games Cafe. Excellent. No, I'd love to go. Yeah, no, I've been meaning to go to one for ages, but just haven't had the time. And yeah, no, I've played that. Um, Pandemic? Strike the pose.
Last year, I did a show. It was about what I did when my mum was dying. If you missed it, don't worry, my first preview is playing on screen right now. It's sped up, so it'll bring you up to speed faster. People came up to me after the show and told me I was brave. They meant this as a compliment. Didn't feel like one. And it's the same immediate reaction of, no thank you, that I get when I'm told I'm brave for doing stand-up. Before I even messed up my first stage entrance, put the mic stand away from you, first thing you do, so simple, totally fucked it. I was told I was brave for doing life modelling. So, it's kind of as it sounds. No clothes. Tasteful, relaxing, meditative even. Models don't get much credit. Neither do the muses, I suppose. My godmother's husband was an artist. A really, really good artist. And he would get friends of his to model for him. I grew up in a house with nude portraits of my mum, before she had me, adorning the walls. My dad sat for him too, after me, after their marriage. So it wasn't a huge leap for me to join the closest thing my family had to a business. Stand-up felt familiar to me because of life modelling. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour. Strike a pose, tell some gags. A sketch is a sketch is a sketch. I suppose I'm what you'd call an exhibitionist. Keen to share, though I'm averse to self-promotion. The saying goes, a problem shared is a problem halved. But what about a feeling shared? How's that divvied up? And the thing about sharing is, surely it's taking what you have and handing it out and leaving you with less. Why post naked pictures of myself on Instagram when I'm averse to self-promotion? This is where we get technical. I mean, it's not actually a photo of me naked. It's a photo of a painting of me naked. And life modelling isn't like modelling. It's not about perfection. It's not about selling you something. It's presenting how you, the model, the life model, is in that moment, offering what you have to people to make art. It's someone else's view of you. My favourite bit is always at the end of the class when I get to see all these different versions of me from all these different perspectives. Is that exhibitionism? But more to the point, why do I recoil from being told I'm brave? Like, that's a good thing, surely. Why don't I identify with that? When someone tells you you're brave, what they mean and what they often follow up with is, I could never do that. But we all pose, don't we? But we all pose, don't we? To get a better angle, flattering, try and make things look effortless, like we're holding it together, like this is how we really are. How are you, Emily?
Fine.
Keeping busy?
Yeah.
Working on the next show?
Mm-hmm.
It's not that I've not been doing stuff. I'm trying new things. Proper auditions for serious acting.
Look, all right. Listen, you have to
Establishing a presence for myself on different platforms. It just doesn't feel like it counts. I even got one of those fancy ring lights like influencers use. Here's me unboxing it. I'd never written a show before, but I had written a dissertation. So I wrote my show like I wrote my dissertation. I read a lot. I cried a lot. I talked about doing it a lot. Eventually, I wrote a lot. And then I deleted a lot. For all the writers in the back, writing is rewriting, yeah. Structure, structure, structure. All advice about writing, banging on about structure, and it only comes together when you're done. You get it. For example, I've been thinking about this show for a year, and I've made it in 4 days, which probably answers a lot of your questions. I was brought up, like so much of my generation, on the principle of fake it till you make it, and yet we don't seem to know why we're riddled with imposter syndrome and imposters.
Strike the pose.
This is nothing new. I came of political awareness when this lot were around. So, to me, fake news is just spin that's been spun. And maybe this is my reluctance about being called brave, because from where I'm sitting, confidence without credentials is what got us into this mess. But then I'm not sure authenticity is the solution either. I am not photogenic, and I don't mean that in that I'm fishing for compliments. I don't look great in photos, but I also just don't seem to look like myself, recognisably the same person from photo to photo. My dad would be the first to point a camera at me and the first to say, "Stop doing your camera face." He may have had a point. Maybe I do struggle with a bit of object permanence, but I've never felt like an object when I'm being drawn. I feel like a subject, but I don't have to be myself. This push to be authentic at all times, to really get across how you're feeling, but what if you're just feeling awful all the time? What if protecting yourself and really the best thing you can do is to pretend? I don't know if that's still faking it till you make it, but maybe pretending you're okay can be healing. In practicing getting better, is that how we get better? In pretending to be okay, will that lead me to actually being okay? I was terrified, frankly, writing this. You're actually watching me write this right now. How's that for meta? I managed to overcome some of that fear by accepting that I will never be funnier than life itself. For example, I was thinking about getting a job in Starbucks, but I don't think I'm qualified. I don't think I'm funny enough. A guy I worked with on a temp job ordered a coffee. The barista asked him for his name, and he said Mark with a C. His cup came back Kark. I will never be funnier than Kark. So I cracked on, including research. Love a bit of research. I watched a 4-hour-long French film about a life model, but it's also about her boyfriend and the artist and his girlfriend, and it's great. It's really French. So, that managed to kill 4 hours. There's a criticism levied at comedians, particularly to do with the trends of the Edinburgh Fringe, that runs along the lines of the sad bit of a show, the turning point where everything gets serious and very self-indulgent, that somehow comedians are monetising trauma. Few points. First, well, what else have I got to monetise? I don't have hobbies. I have 6 jobs. This is one of them, and I've lost most of them. Secondly, monetising. Oh, if only. For comedy, I get paid an exposure. Life modelling, I get paid for exposure. Go figure. Quick, crucial point. Life modelling is the highest paid per hour job I've ever had in my life. But then artists know the worth of things. Thirdly, I take difficult feelings that I'm having and think, oh, I'm a human being, there's a lot of us, I'm probably not the only one with this feeling, but I am one of the ones that has a compulsion to ask in some way, shape or form, I'm having these difficult feelings, any of you? I've observed this thing, do you relate? Hard, isn't it? And spend the better part of a year going up in front of majority strangers, honing that so that there's a gag rate, or at the very least, no drop-off on interest so that I can develop something worthwhile for an average of 100 people over an entire month, who might have my company for the maximum of an hour in their entire lives in the faint hope that we all come away feeling less isolated. I'm not sure how that's self-indulgent, but it's not brave. It's a swing for transparency, or maybe it's just emotional exhibitionism. I'm open to asking hard questions. And look, faced with destruction of the planet and all species on it, we're well overdue to ask the hard questions. And not just, why are the bees dying at an alarming rate? Scott McCart, a name I promise you I have not made up, is the assistant professor of pollinator health at Cornell University. He said that every single one of the stresses that pollinators are facing is man-made. From April Fool's Day 2018 to April Fool's Day 2019, the managed bee population in the US decreased by 40.7%. The data was taken from 4,700 beekeepers who are now managing roughly 225,000 colonies. If each of those colonies has an average of around 50,000 bees, there's around 11,250,000,000 bees left. Sounds like a lot, but think of the almonds. It takes a lot of those things to make milk. Based on those figures, allowing for a similar trend over time, doing the maths as I'm sure you've all done already, that means that 10,000 bees die every 10 minutes. In case you needed a reason to feel sad. An extra one. Getting into the swing of writing my show, I was determined. I got very intellectual. I aimed for something career-defining, would settle for career-developing, something clever, something physical, something confrontational, something spectacular. Yeah, that was not my best idea. Crucially, I was worried that it just wasn't funny enough. But hey, what do you call a comedian without any jokes? A multi-award winner. Oh, even I'm at it now. Wait, I've got one. What do you call a comedian with no gigs and completely lacking the motivation or will to even try and write anything? Oh, I don't know either, I was hoping you did. I was stuck, doing nothing, and life modelling has taught me that it takes a lot to do nothing, and then more stuck, and more nothing. Life doesn't just imitate art, it nails the impression. As someone who considered themselves an irrevocable introvert, I just started to really feel the benefit of being in rooms with people, quiet and loud. So not just stand-up and life modelling, but clowning workshops, hot yoga and Quaker worship. Those last two are the most obviously spiritual, but they're all meditative, attempting some kind of build and release. I'm not religious, before you get the wrong idea, but I didn't feel as strange at first going to the meetings as some people do. Staying still, not saying anything, doing what seems like nothing takes a lot. Silence is a lot to maintain. It's precious to slow right down, stop being, stop going forward and just be exactly where you are, exactly who you are. To meet yourself, now. Have you ever tried to tell someone about a dream you had? Or a nightmare? Sort of this place, kind of that person, the dream logic where it's not ruled by cause and effect. Things just happen. Writing jokes that are quick, immediate, witty, without being hack or reactionary, that's hard. That's why this is a job, after all. Writing jokes that can sustain an hour-long show is a challenge. So many different avenues you can go down or formats, but comes right back to structure. Rule of 3. Acts. Set up, punchline, callback. But see, you don't realise you've been set up for a callback until the callback happens. Sort of like deja vu. That's when it's really something, I think. When you don't even realise what you've remembered until something happens for you to remember it. What seemed like nothing, not even a detail really, suddenly snaps into significance. What's a very good place to start when you don't know how it ends? Where do you begin when you know you're far from the only person hurt by what happened? How do you tell the story of what's going on when the source of your pain is that your narrative is broken? Has been broken? What if you're not a hero? What about your journey then? Telling the bees is a Celtic tradition. Anything that happened in the household, significant things, birth, marriage, death and all that, the bees had to be told. Otherwise, this lack of respect would cause the hive to fly away or die, leaving the crops unpollinated and risking the health and happiness of the home. Truth was an essential part of the ecosystem, and now they're dying. So what are we not telling them? My last show is about my mum dying, but it can't be contained in one show. She insists on staying dead, which is rude of her, so everything I do will have some of that in there, because it's a constant. It's not something that's done. None of this is done. This, whatever this is, show thing isn't done, and this show thing is far from how I wanted it to be, but here it is. It exists. A bad thing happened to me in the wrong way, because there's a right way for bad things to happen to you, especially this bad thing. Yeah, that's right, you guys, it's a trauma show. If you're bored of trauma, then may I suggest not traumatising people or helping prevent people being traumatised. But the really bad thing, worse than the bad thing itself somehow, was telling anyone. I didn't realise that I had been stuck in this one pose the entire time, seemingly while going through the motions. But everything hurt, and I was very tired. There was a lot of anguish in trying to say awful things in the best possible way, which, take it from me, is still awful. The truth didn't save me, far from it. It unleashed real horror. I was lucky with some people. I was unlucky with others. Doing my show last year was a cast around my heart. Every day there was somewhere I had to be, where I knew what I had to do, exactly how I had to feel. I'm not sure what that is, but it's not brave. Bees show each other the way to things by dancing. They can only defend themselves once in their lives. It may destroy them for little more than a sting, but sometimes you really just have to try. One bee, or a swarm. So about this painting you've been looking at for the death of approximately 2,000 bees, I saw it IRL on my last trip as a citizen of the European Union to the continent. My last trip anywhere for a while, it turns out. My dear friend took me to Disneyland Paris after my Fringe run. I cried on the airport bus. I cried on the rides. I cried lying down on the floor after a bottle of rosé to myself while she held my hand lying down on the floor with me. I'm so very lucky to have her as my friend. After a few go-rounds in the 8th circle of hell, aka left luggage at Gare du Nord, we have a lunch that lasts 3 hours, then make a quick stop at the Musée d'Orsay. My suggestion? Because I needed to see this painting. It's by Gustave Courbet. Its full title is, French pronunciation, here we go, L'Atelier du Peintre, L'Atelier du Peintre, Allégorie réelle Allégorie réelle déterminant une phase de 7 années de ma vie artistique et morale. In English, The Painter's Studio, a real allegory summing up 7 years of my artistic and moral life. Often abbreviated to The Painter's Studio, but an inspiration for the titles of thousands of humanities postgraduate dissertations. And when you see it, when you're in front of it, it is epic, on the scale of a historical battle. And that's not by accident. It's not like, oh, I've only got the biggest canvas left. No. It's on purpose. And it's just him doing his thing and people in his world. So the Paris World Fair's jury rejected the Painter's Studio. Courbet opened his own exhibition, the Pavilion of Realism, pretty much next door to the official exhibition. I mean, they did actually take 11 of his other works, but Courbet got really salty about this one not being included. The Pavilion of Realism is widely agreed to be the first Salon des Refusés, or exhibition of rejects. Self-promotion, defiance. Mais oui, Gustave, the proto-influencer. So in the middle, quite clearly a life model there, watching over him as he's painting a landscape. She's meant to be a symbol of academic art, and probably quite cold. Why am I so drawn to this? Drawn to it. It's a drawing? Oh. I mean, it's a glorified selfie, but it puts him in society, in context. He knows his view of himself includes other people. He is a part of everything around him and vice versa. The model is being rejected and represented simultaneously. Yep, okay, I know what you're thinking. You're right. Real allegory is an oxymoron. How can something that's meant to be an allegory also be real? From this proponent and titan within realism. Look, I am being both literal and vague for the same reason. I do not want to be misunderstood. I don't know what Courbet meant by real allegory, but that's me. Whenever I'm asked for life modelling tips by people who are considering giving it a go, I can see in their eyes that they're wanting to know how to be confident enough, how to be brave, like it's that simple, like I know. I say the same thing to all of them, the only thing I do know. Any pose will hurt if you hold it for long enough. Oh well, next time.